their ticket to Trials, which, spoiler, was actually taken after that went to 4-4 because of that draw.
Oh.
So 1 point is in Overwatch Contenders. They have made it. They have beaten MorningStars, but MorningStars showed some good stuff here on Hanamura.
Very, very strong play. I mean, it came all the way down to the wire. The very last seconds of the 4th round of Hanamura. Who knew it would be that close? But Luft here just really putting in that work on the Winston. Been fluffing Mozasa a lot, but Luft definitely a very good performance as well. And hey, man, that is, even though it was a 3-0, I don't think that the score line represents at all how close some of these matchups were.
Except Blizzard World.
Except Blizzard World. That was a wipe.
That didn't happen.
No,
that was a fever dream. Mm-hmm. But the maps 1 and maps 3 were both really close, as Control did go to 3 points, and we went to multiple rounds on a Hanamura. But we are doing it in a 4-map set, so we are going to have a 4th map here for you guys. And this is a good opportunity maybe to see some cheese, get some Gorgonzola, get some blue cheese, or
Gruyere, Dubliner. Sweet but nutty. I like that. We're gonna,
nutty. And this gives MorningStars an opportunity to maybe sneak one in, get that extra win there, not go down. No one likes to get swept.
No. And MorningStars, they saw incredible verve, incredible resilience there from that team. Line Pro, man, I just gotta say, like, the Valking Mercy v 1v2, the Pharah Mercy. I don't know about that, but we might see a little bit maybe more of the DPS side of this guy coming out. We'll see some more Brigitte,
Yeah. He had that whip shot kill on that D.Va that opened up the point for him. And then, they did take 2 points in 1 minute and 11 seconds. And I've done 4 minutes without taking a single point on that map before. So that is incredibly impressive. And we are here on Route 66. So we're going to see some Earl. We're going to see some Big. Yeah. We're going to see maybe some Sombra, maybe some other characters.
Reaper. Let's see some Reaper, man. 3rd point of Route 66.
Yeah,
Reaper, McCree all day long.
I like keeping it thematic, right? So this is McCree's map. So I love
or Brigitte. Hey, talking about whips and shots. Rawhide. This is the perfect map. I just wanted to get that in there. But it will be MorningStars on the defense first. And interestingly, Najini on that Tracer once again, definitely one of the great heroes in his pool with Line Pro on the Mercy. So a little bit of a dive defense. Interestingly, big one on the 76. So Old Man getting a little bit more playtime.
He's been warming the bench for a while.
A little bit.
Warmed up, stretched out.
Sometimes you just want to bring out the classics.
Yeah.
That's the thing. However, if 1 do come out with Orthic on this Widowmaker, which does seem very likely, that's going to be a pretty hard ask for your 76 to go toe-to-toe with somebody, who's that capable long range. Mm-hmm. But hey, close range, Helix Rocket still going to be, deadly against Frost potentially on this Tracer.
Yeah, and so I like it. I like seeing 76. I like seeing the old classics. Like, now that's what I call Overwatch number 11. Mm-hmm. MorningStar is going to start off with a defense with a kill with that Helix Rocket, like you said, on the most important character. As something to point out is most people do not hold up this close, but I think because of some surprise party value, that doesn't go down, and Virginia is going to follow that up as well. So really fun defense, but now they have to concede some ground and reset at Big Earls because they do have all 6 people thanks to that res once again, but they are going to move back and give Seed some distance here now.
Yeah, you don't want to keep the train car party going a little bit too long, and Ginny actually goes down. No, big one as well. Oh, this defense is falling apart like a house of cards for MorningStars. I mean, whoa, they won the battle, but definitely lost the war.
Yeah, I think all they needed to do was stand back and cede some ground, like we were saying.
The welcome a little bit, got the mat yanked out from underneath their feet.
Exactly. But because of that, that's free distance. They are going to come back here, and they are able to defend here on Big Earl. Pulsebomb is going to take Dragon Eddie down to a low health stat, but not going to be able to take him out of that neck. That unsheathed blade is terrifying. Horthic is going to get the kill on a 2 Dance, but it's going to get taken down himself. And MorningStar, had a good defense to start the game, stayed a little long, but they're getting back control.
Yeah, interestingly, and Najini actually going to be on the Brigitte here. At 1 point, overextending perhaps a little bit too much. Orthic going in very deep with the blade. We saw Big One actually took himself out trying to Helix Rocket that Genji. Now Orthic actually going to be on his own 76 here, try and challenge out Big One. But the ults are still flying Boop here. 1.0, you see they are stacked, got 4 to their name. Any single one of these could be huge. Big One though ready with that tack visor, not choosing to pop it though, even though Fat is in the air, one of the great counters. There we go, now we have the visors pop.
Ooh, good Diva play there, knocking him down, getting in his face. That is what you call a good tank line. 1.0, that is something to study for other teams. What happens when tack visor is down? Well, you can't get in their face. They can take those bullets, but this positioning has actually been to the advantage of Big One as he's able to get the kill on it to Scalar, but as of right now, the rest of MorningStars is about to fall. 1.0 though falling as well. This is now a 3v3, and the attacking spawns are going to be the advantage here. Luck trying his best to take down that Orthic, who already has a tack visor of his own.
Yeah, 3v3. I feel like I've seen this in my own arcade game, Soldier Tracer versus Monkey. But it is going to be tack visor in now for Orthic. This fight has been non-stop. Neither of the teams really going for that full reset. Now Luft popping that Primal Rage, trying to sow a little bit of discord here on the high ground, but Force back now, and Orthic still alive. Both of the supports down now for MorningStars, courtesy of a beautiful pulse bomb and a rifle butt to the face from Orthic. And so 1.0 looked like they finally may be able to grind out this point A.
Yes, the dreaded butt to the face.
Butt to the face.
Man.
Yes, no.
Dreaded butt.
Whether it comes from 76 putting that rifle in your face, or a giant gorilla landing on your neck, neither of them really great.
Yeah, but 1.0, looking pretty strong here. Finally getting the kills they need to get the first point. 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock for Streets phase, which I believe has an over 90% completion, percentage. And so it's kind of how much time can you take off the clock if you're MorningStars here. And Najini has been popping off a little bit, but he needs someone else from his team to do the same. Who do you think that can be? It's probably the Big One's the one that needs to be, but Pam, do you agree with that statement?
I mean, Big One has been a little bit hot and cold with his Widowmaker so far. Kind of the nature of that hero, but it is, sometimes you just gotta show up to work, man. Put on your carry pants and get those headshots. You see Scalar over here just trying to peek the corner. I wouldn't test Muppet. I wouldn't test that Widowmaker's sightline, but you do have Frost over there just buying a little bit more time as a person's playing video games on the payload. Sometimes you just got to get, your time in, rack up those hours.
Ooh, there it is. We said it earlier, the Big One's going to be the one that needs to pop off, and that's exactly what doesn't happen because Frost does get the revenge kill onto the Big One. Even it up 5v6 now with the res. So MorningStars, once again, we're seeing kind of a slow attack here from 1.0. Winston is going to hop on over, try to get some tickle damage, and both Winstons are kind of far from Primal Rage. Luck is at 80%. Primal Rage, one of the best ults in the game. Talking about best ults in the game, Transcendence is going to come down for 1.0, trying to get more distance onto the payload to try to get into the Anger phase. With the third phase of Frost is going to get the kill on to Line Pro, but no mercy is available here for either team, and a great headshot from Orthic is going to open this up for 1.0. The discord on a Primal Raging Winston is going to make it possible for him to be taken down, but as of right now, the point is open, and Najini's the only one on it. You get that, you get the point. That's exactly what we're going to see here. I was wrong, guys. There's another spawn, but Frost is going to finish off Luff. Line Pro is going to take out his pistol, do his best, but to no avail, Ham.
Yeah, MorningStars looking a little bit disjointed on their defense there. You saw Luft going very deep with that Primal Rage, but unfortunately forgetting the objective a little bit. So we need to see kind of the disparate parts of this MorningStars defense sync up there. That's always a good thing. The Big One did finally find Orthic, so evening things up a little bit. Resurrection will come out. 1.0 playing this pretty cool, calm, collected. They know they have plenty of time, plenty of ults. Have that Primal Rage from Mozastos. They've paid huge dividends so far, not to mention Brewston's self-destruct. But Najini gonna be looking, gets the stick, and actually takes down Scalar, one of the best targets.
Yeah, even though Orthic did die right after his res MorningStars, doesn't quite need him, as they're going to get 4 quick kills here onto the defense. Frost, though, going to take down Luck, and 1.0 giving themselves a little bit of a chance to keep going here on it to the payload. And with Malzaza's Winston and Frost Tracer, just absolute chaos there at their spawn, and another pulse bomb was available for Frost, as Dance is going to have the resurrection used on him. So Lion Pro using that res pretty much on a cooldown thus far.
Yeah, I mean, Frost has been putting on a clinic with these pulse bomb sticks so far. We'll go down to Najini over here, but MorningStars, they've been able to scrap out a kill here or there, but it's all been piecemeal. They need to win win a single big team fight. The self-destruct from Dragon Eddie gonna help them do that. Finally get a little bit of breathing room here, as One.PoinT has been unrelenting in the pressure so far. A veritable hydraulic press of an attack. But MorningStars, they have bought themselves a reprieve so far. That does give One.PoinT, though, the chance to swap Mausasa and Frost here. Gonna go off of that Zarya. No Graviton Surge online. Frost says, all I need is one shot, one kill.
So Frost is gonna try his best at that Widow Orthic on the Brigitte. So wholesale swaps 3 bets on One.PoinT. Other than a Brusen and a Stealer, Orthic is gonna prove that that was a good idea, getting the first pick here, and that is gonna be an opportunity for One.PoinT. Is anyone gonna be able to follow that up? It doesn't look like thus far. Self-destruct is out, and self-destruct does get Line Pro, so that is the help that they are going to need. No mercy means no team, as the rest of One.PoinT is gonna get the kills there, and they are gonna get an opportunity, though. MorningStars is to defend once again thanks to these spawns, but the payload is close. 18 seconds left. This is it for both teams. One fight loss is either the win for One.PoinT or the loss for MorningStars now.
Oh, and Ginny used a Fire Strike. Hungry, but you shouldn't be there for that Reinhardt. Mausasa does manage to stay alive, shielding up here. Luft and Dragon Eddie on their own heavy tanks now, but it's not going to be quite enough. Earth Shatter finds the 2, and that should be the beautiful way to seal the deal for One.PoinT as they finish out the map. No time left in the bank, however.
Yep, so they still finish Route 66. Anytime on these escort maps, you want to get those 3 points. You gotta feel good about that. But, you know, some slow fights, some kind of awkward fights within this round. We got to see some 76 from both Orthic and the big one. What was your kind of take on that?
Orthic, we're definitely playing very well. Both of the teams playing slightly sloppy, perhaps the fatigue finally, you know, getting to them a little bit here on Route 66. But MorningStars, they definitely tightened things up towards that last point. You saw a couple of great defenses from them, able to, you know, whittle One.PoinT down to overtime, which is always a very good thing. Anytime you're on the defense, make it so that, you know, if you can finish out the map with, you know, a minute left, over a minute at least, then, you know, things are going pretty well for you.
Exactly.
The 1v1s, I would say, have been a little bit less impactful than the general team play, as we saw, you know, sometimes occasionally the tank lineup seemed a little bit disconnected from the rest of the fight, you know, in terms of whether they're prioritizing winning the team fight or, you know, playing the objective, getting some contest on the payload, because One.PoinT basically got the entire Streets phase for free. MorningStars weren't really able to win out a single team fight, so they're constantly ceding space in order to try and regroup to get a full 6-man engage, and One.PoinT, you know, were just pressing their advantage constantly. So moving on into this next round, Boop, hopefully going to be seeing a little bit more cohesion from the MorningStars lineup. This is attack, so you know, it's all going to be the onus of One.PoinT to, you know, work out whether or not they're going to be playing the cards or going for the kills.
Yeah, I love seeing the aggression coming out of these teams, and with MorningStars is kind of together doing that dive, being the aggressor, controlling the tempo. MorningStars tends to do it a little bit better, but Ginny is going to be rocking this Tracer. I'm always interested to see what character Ginny and Orthic are playing. And the big one actually almost gets taken down right away. That would have been a huge Fields of Bad Man. But as of right now, this is going to be a 6v6 classic. Wait until Big Earl's gas station. Sorry, I said that wrong. It's Big Earl. That's how you're supposed to do it. So Mausasa is going to take up the Hunger and Bunker. I love that for when you use it on Hanamura. So we're going to say it one more time. And the Tanks, Luft, and Dragon are going to come up on to this high ground and say hello. And Frost, you know, missed his opportunity earlier. Going to get it now. Going to get that headshot onto the big one. And that's going to be a 65 for the defense of One.PoinT. So this dive offense on MorningStars, not really doing much thus far, as we still are kind of just seeing a war of attrition as person gets taken very, very low. I do believe gets a D next. So this is an opening for MorningStars.
Absolute. You're not going to have any of that peel available for Fat or Scalar, but Orthic, if you let this rat stay alive a little bit longer,
that was nice.
I'm going to be coalescing that junk into a beautiful tire.
Yep, and the tire is going to come out, and he is going to take Line Pro from inside the house. The Discord Orb on the fortified Orisa pretty much cancels all of that out. That armor, though, tough to cut through. Dragon Eddie with that Transcendence is going to be still alive, possibly going to unleash the self-destruct here in a second. That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to get no kills because of it, but thanks to the chaos that it causes, Luft is able to take that down. And at One.PoinT looking good on their offense, EV.
Ooh, Dance. Yeah, Dance needs to rejoin his team in the warm embrace of Respawn, as they have still 2 minutes to try and get something done. The cart is incredibly close. They only need to win one fight, and Ginny can do it, single-handedly with a good pulse bomb. This guy also really good at sticking those ultimates. We're going to see a defensive swap from One.PoinT, Orchid going onto his own Tracer, just to see if he can sow a little bit more discomfort. Keep MorningStars from feeling 100% comfortable in their own backline, as Frost does have the sights activated. So this is going to be more time bought off the clock, because they probably don't want to be testing this Widowmaker.
But they did it anyway.
Did it anyway.
Widowmakers are both still alive as they're doing each other. Oh, but good game sense coming from Frost, getting that easy headshot on the way down from the jump on to Luft. They've got to deal with this Widow, because as of right now, the big one's not the one doing it. So
I was playing arcade shooters right here, Frost.
Exactly. And so Brooklyn's going to continue the 1-point dominance, and with these staggers, fam, things are going to get harder and harder for MorningStars.
Yeah, MorningStars gotta get all their ducks in a row here, put together a cohesive attack, which could happen with Luft's Primal Rage. He's also been very good with those ultimates. Big One just looking for those headshots. He does play a pretty ballsy Widowmaker, not gonna lie, opening himself up, but that's a good start. Fat's down.
Yeah, and the healing orb on Fat was not enough, as Frost is going to come down with a 9-player kill streak. And finally, for the first time in a couple minutes is what it feels like, is MorningStars is showing some life in their offense. But Brusson is going to get the kill onto the support player. So what looked good for MorningStars now looking not so good. But in the end, I do believe MorningStars is probably going to get this point here, thanks to that nice shot on Big One onto the Tracer.
Yep, Big One now camping on Orthic's favorite spot. As we see here now, Dance putting in the damage, man.
I love the sound effects, right? Just that like pop of the foot. There's, maybe Mercy, melee kills are just as good, but getting killed by a Zenyatta foot feels bad. I love how he kicked there at the edge.
It's
for,
a
like,
foot to the
points.
face. It's for the style points, man.
Exactly. Half of Overwatch is style.
It's just styling.
That's why we're dressed the way we are.
Yeah, exactly. Ties on the head, man. Just so we personally don't forget what game we're casting. Always happens. But
Exactly. That's Big One forgets where he is. No, Frost forgets where he is. He gets the headshot. It's when we just saw the body collapse right in front of Brooklyn. But they're going to go ahead and try to take the offensive here and get into each other's faces. Now, Zaza going to go ahead and go in on the dive on the discorded Diva, but nothing to it thus far. The supports are keeping her alive. And Ginny trying his best. The Frost is going to continue the dominance over the Big One thus far here on Route 66. Big One, you got to get hotter, dude. Got to click those heads. Frost, though, doing what he needs to do for 1 point on these defenses. And the Ginny trying to hit the best 89% on that pulse bomb is going to need a Big One. If you're not going to deal, if Big One's not going to deal with Frost, someone should, but the self-destruct is going to be the one that does a Dragon Eddy coming in hot with that bomb. And MorningStars is looking good thus far with this offense, but no, 1 point has tried to turn it around. Left's Primal Rage, though, is going to keep this thing going. Thanks to that Discord order, are you going to get the final kill? Yes, you are.
No. So incredibly close, man.
Maybe just one melee kind of flavored in there could have done it, man.
I mean, Luft, though, still throughout that whole fight, big Primal Rage. He's obviously a fan of sick puppies. My face, fist in your face, and your face.
He's a fan
on
of
the
sick
floor.
puppies?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is all right. That reference. Okay, we lost people, but what's not lost though is this point B, as 1 point will reinforce their defense here, trying their best, but it may well just be feeding, as both Scalar and Frost down already. Brewston trying to find a little bit of space, and he gets Line Pro. Goodness gracious.
Line Pro has been eaten up by a couple self-destructs.
A little bit of the positioning, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe getting it at at that time right after Guardian Angel is down. Did you get brought low? 20 HP, but 1 point bringing this back. So this is a common occurrence that we've seen. MorningStar starts off with some kills, but 1 point in control, going to end up on top.
Yeah, cosplaying Gumby over here. 1 point has been the master of these JK coming back in defenses. Frost now has swapped off onto that Genji. Always a great fight closer if you can build up to that blade. Najini, though, perhaps preempting him, swapping onto the far, just going for a different route of attack. This is going to be a good hero, especially against Orthix Brigitte. But MorningStars are down to the last 10 seconds. They have to continue to sustain on this fight. Line Pro can't die, man. You got that Valkyrie. Your team needs it.
And One.PoinT is only going to have one ultimate available, and that is going to be Scalar's Transcendence. So one on each side, but both support ultimates available for MorningStars. The Transcendence is going to come out from Scalar. This could be it from MorningStars and their trials time so far. One.PoinT wants to officially celebrate their inclusion into Contenders thus far, but they're going to have to wait just a little bit longer because the Ginny's going to get a couple kills and put MorningStars on top. Let's see if this Rocket Barrage is going to be beefy with the self-destruct coming into the face. Is going to be able to make it in time. And yes, because of that concussive grenade, going to be able to make it out, but nothing to it on that Rocket Barrage. Just gets taken low. It's the most impactful thing that happens there. But the supports are on it. You see that still, Farah. You got to support it. Down there coming out, gets everybody except Frost on to One.PoinT, and they do get off the point. One.PoinT gets the sweep 4-0 onto MorningStars. They are officially in Contenders. MorningStars, you showed some life during that series, but to no avail, not able to grab a game hand.
Unlucky, a little bit unlucky. Things were looking really strong there, especially after that barrage came in from Nijini, but a little bit of the location just slightly suspect, and the Primal Raging Mozasa. Apparently, you can use gorillas as umbrellas for rockets. You never, right? We learned something new today, folks.
Yeah, some good tank play. I think Panda's the one that pointed it out too on a One.PoinT. I loved how the ultimates came out, and you just saw the divas going straight for the danger. Never, they go towards the danger. Exactly. But that is it for the Hamasaurus, the Boop NATO for today and for Open Division and Trials. It has been an absolute pleasure bringing you the games, but that is not all for everybody. We do have the deaths. So Lemon and the boys, break this down for us. What happened to MorningStars?
Well, we say goodnight to MorningStars as their journey path to pro to Contenders ends here, and One.PoinT do officially secure that spot with the 4-0 win. But welcome back to the Broadcast.gg Analyst Desk. I'm still your host, Lemon Kiwi, and these are still my analysts, Jaws and Panda. But let's start with Hanamura. This was the map that mattered the most for MorningStars, being down 2-0 or 0-2 in the series after halftime. But they managed to complete the map with a 1-minute time bank. So that's a pretty good start. But although their support, ultimate management, their ultimate choices were a bit scrappy on point 2, but Nagini's swap to Tracer, from Tracer to Brigitte, I think made a huge statement against One.PoinT.
Yeah, absolutely did. He got caught out a couple of times as Trace. There were situations where he was going in alone and dying and just kind of not receiving the backup from his team. But that Brigitte swap straight up changed the game completely for them. They were able to cap the first point. And then moving on to seconds, keeping all three healers alive on point and having 3 AoE healers at that as well, the Moira, the Lucio, and the Brigitte. There's no way any one of those is dying. So they were able to kind of hold out and just make sure they could receive those reinforcements as quick as possible.
That's absolutely right. I mean, just the swaps coming through left and right, like you said as well here in the notes, it's not exactly easy to come back from, but having a time bank never in the end, it still set a win condition, so it was that.
And I think we noted that MorningStars had a lot of potential on this map. I think they actually took this map against we have Org. So this was, okay, they were looking a little steamy coming into this map, and they do finish it. So they made it through for now. But now we switch to One.PoinT's offense when a completely different scenario. It went by in a blink. I was taking notes, and then there's 6-minute time bank on the board. Frost is a crazy widow, but then kind of showed us what it's like to be an invisible Tracer.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, Blink is a wonderful segue into this Tracer comment. I mean, quite invisible indeed. I watched a clip and a half fully unload into MorningStar Blue's Diva mech as well, and then just softly blink up and down the entire spawn room doors, clipping everything in sight. I don't even believe that Frost had to use the recall because he was just that invisible.
It was kind of crazy, actually. There were a couple of times where they MorningStar would just leave Dance alone, and then he would say, I'm in danger, whatever. And then the Winston would jump over, help him to make sure that they're not getting too pressured by Frost Tracer. But then as soon as Frost disappeared for like half a second, they were like, okay, we're done here. We're going to go back doing our other things. And then Tracer instantly blinks back in, kills Dance. It's like, oh God, okay, our support's dead now. Like, what the hell? It was literally the most invisible tracer I've ever seen. No one paid attention to him, and I think Ninjini needed to kind of stick on this Brigitte and just guard his supports like there was no tomorrow. Dan's just needed a little bit more protection, but hats off to Frost, a crazy Widow and a crazy Tracer to end up that whole game, in all honesty.
It was a good first round for both teams, but the 6-minute versus a 1-minute time bank, it became a one-sided affair later on. But now we go back to MorningStars' offense with a 1-minute time bank. They managed to finish the map. And for a team like MorningStars, I think this was an incredible task. And I think this was really on the back of Big One. We mentioned him, how impactful of a player this guy was on Lejong Tower, and he brought out that Widowmaker, that Overwatch League material Widowmaker back on this point.
Yeah, Big One was the shining star for their team, in all honesty. It was not only would his Widowmaker good, his positioning was really nice, and him being able to out-duel the enemy Widowmaker was just second to none, and he was really the linchpin that held it together at the end of it all. He was finding the picks, he was finding the kills, but not only that, you got to pay a little bit of credit to their front line as well. Not being able to sit up high up on that Widow and just take pot shots like that completely for free on Hanamura doesn't go without saying that the tank line's doing a good job also of kind of holding that front, making sure that no one's getting access to Big One. So not only is his Widowmaker good, his tank line's good for just enabling it also.
Yeah, we normally talk about in Overwatch altogether, the tank line as well being the foundation of a team as well, just holding everybody together like glue. But the Big One, and the casters even said as well, doing what he needed to do, coming up huge in certain scenarios to really open up the floor for the rest of his team. The foundation was found in a Widowmaker today.
I mean, those spawn doors were open, but Big One was not letting anyone out on point B. And I just think it was really impressive. With 1 minute, it's so difficult just to get a good push going into point B Hanamura, and they managed to do it. Where at one point, unfortunately, do finish off Hanamura because of just the huge disparity in the time bank. But I want to bring out a positive part. MorningStars' final defense. Remember, they only needed, I think, 33%. So MorningStars came up with a pretty interesting defense with the Orisa, D.Va, Junkrat, and Tracer, and this stood a chance.
That's absolutely right. I mean, one thing that we did see coming out of Nagini on defense the third time round was that Junkrat. Something that's fantastic for Junkrat, especially against a team like One.PoinT. They really like their dive along with the Zenyatta. I mean, like most teams, of course, the Discord Orb is really strong. And at the end of the day, when you're just firing those grenades down line of sight into that choke point, it's very hard for a Zenyatta, not the most mobile hero in the entire pool, to move through that small choke point as the tanks were diving in. So we saw Brucein have to go into an overclock kind of status inside that mech and have to both be into the dive with Malzauza or be on the back line to use the defense matrix to keep the Zenyatta alive, just to come through the choke points into the courtyard area. Very hard, took a while for that self-destruct to come through, but once the self-destruct did end up coming through, really opened up the rest of the point after about 4 minutes.
Yeah, what was really important on that defense too is the fact that Orisa was able to hunker down for so long, and you can do that with a Junkrat too, because you can, if any dive comes in, they're going to run into traps, concussion mines, literally everything, and there's nothing you can really do to stop that. Moira can't heal through shields anymore with the left click, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. And not only that, you have Tracer kind of pummeling your shields, and she's not going to do enough damage for the shield to completely go away before the Orisa can actually get another one up. Although Frost did do a good job kind of building that pulse bomb, just a couple of times he had them and he threw them on a D.Va mech, but it wasn't enough to kill the D.Va, and the target selection and prioritization of that pulse bomb was a bit funny. But on all honesty, that was again, I think MorningStars, one of their biggest strengths actually is just changing up on the defense and reactively playing against One.PoinT. That is definitely something they should look forward to in the future as one of their big strengths and goals. Ninjini, stay on the Junkrat, stay on the fire. This guy's projectiles, they're pretty damn good. He almost solo held the point. There was a point in the game when we're all sitting here like, okay, they're probably going to end it now. There's the score, the kill feed, is just completely blue, and then you just see like 6 things that says Junkrat, 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 and it's like, okay, well, maybe not then. And Genie's popped off at the end.
Yeah, he popped off, and I like the swap from Horthig on that fair to kind of come around that base defense that MorningStars had, and eventually this crumbled. But to keep in mind, MorningStars, they burned like 4 minutes holding that defense on the back of Nagini, and this guy really popped off for me. And This is where it ended 3-0 for 1 point, but we go into a final fourth map just cuz. So to keep in mind, this is more for glory and it doesn't really have any impact on the standings. But MorningStars were not ready to lay down whatsoever. They laid down a pretty good defense on Route 66 where 1 point had to finish in overtime, but then it still turned into 1 point's favor. So Jaws, let's start with you. What stood out to you in this match?
One of the big things that stood out to me at the start of the game specifically was how far up MorningStars were holding. And so maybe they could get another fight in before the car was actually pushed around. They overextended a little bit. You saw the soldiers sprinting away from like 4 different people. Like, I'm going to survive. My Bionic Field's back there somewhere healing someone else. And that's kind of what led to their demise because the soldier wasn't really able to do anything apart from use that sprint to get away. But then we saw 1 point slip up a little. They went and overextended themselves and went down to the choke and in between those two cliff faces and leave the cart completely alone, as in the cart was not moving at all and it actually rolls back just a slight bit, and that enabled MorningStars to make a re-entry and almost push them into overtime. I think there was a minute left remaining on the clock before they were able to actually cap the point because they gave MorningStars so much space, and it's cool to see them actually capitalize on that. Normally teams we would see them just kind of go, okay, we lost first point, Route 66, pretty hard to close, pretty hard to retake, as you do have to push through some fairly tight chokes, but they were able to do it because of that small slip up that 1 point made. So hats off to MorningStars to honestly recognize that mistake and capitalize on it.
I was really happy to see MorningStars into the point not necessarily give up on giving any room. I mean, 2 minutes and 30 seconds going into the third point. We were talking about it amongst ourselves here while the game was going on as well. It's not that it was a roll, but it was certainly a strong defense coming out from MorningStars to shave off all that time as well. And something that stuck out for me as well was how they really stuck to their guns. I mean, maybe 1 point was kind of feeling themselves. Maybe they were eating that pepperoni pizza a little bit too early on after knowing that they were already insta-locked into the contenders as well. But you never really know. I mean, at the end of the day, they were really making a lot of strong plays. But the one misplay that really stuck out to me more than anything was that Primal Rage on to the Big One Soldier, who just turned around ever so slightly and just decimated the Zenyatta. I mean, that was not only a really heads-up play by the Big One to stay cool, calm, and collective amidst that chaos, but really just finding himself in his own in that Helix rocket. That was insane.
Well, congratulations to 1 point for really securing that spot with the 4-0. And our standings have decided the top 4 teams that will be making it to contenders. We've got Snakes, We Have Org, you've got Bazooka Puppies, and 1 point will be joining them as the final team. So congratulations to those teams making their way through the path to pro, maybe Overwatch League one day. There were certainly some very dedicated and capable Overwatch League material players throughout this trials. As the standings have been just told to you here, the regular season will kick off July 2nd at 6 p.m. CEST, and that's going to be British Hurricane versus Young and Beautiful, and that will be on the Blizzard stream. Make sure you guys mark your calendars because it's going to be one spicy season coming up. But you're on the Broadcast.gg stream right now, and you might wonder, what is this? Well, I'm going to tell you, folks. This is a group of amateur developing and learning casters, hosts, and analysts, and we're open to all experience levels. And if you are interested in being a caster, a host, an analyst, maybe you want to learn about coaching, whatever you want to learn about, we have tons of resources in our Discord, and we will plug that link in the chat for you. But Broadcast.gg has been bringing you Open Division, and we've been bringing you trials, and this will be our last segment until we are called again. Not all heroes wear capes, but we're here to serve, and this will be the end of our Broadcast.gg desk. I'd like to thank all the talent that have been involved through Open Division and through trials, and there's so many names to name that I'm probably going to forget, and I don't want to offend anybody, so let's highlight today's desk. Boop and Ham Tornado bringing you that action and the ripe banana reference that I'm still questioning this early in the morning.
It was awesome.
Ripe bananas and monkeys, man. I took it the wrong way. But there's also my wonderful analyst bringing you all the brains. That's Jaws and Panda, myself, Lemon Kiwi. And I'm not going to forget our producer and our observer bringing you all the angles and all the ultimates. That was Sunkern behind the scenes. But we have so much more talent involved behind Broadcast.gg. Mushu Beef, mainly the founder of Broadcast.gg, bringing this all together, contacting Blizzard, making trials happen. You guys wouldn't be able to see all this action if it wasn't for the people behind Broadcast.gg. I'd like to thank thank everybody from there. I know the long thank you speech is over, but this has been a very early morning for me and maybe a late afternoon for you wherever you are in the world. But we want to wish you a very great day.
Luck really close to his. He's probably going to have that available unless they get a really good pick here to start it off. And so far, once again, it's just seeing and asserting their dominance. But that stick on a scaler is going to be huge for MorningStars, keeping their tournament lives alive. But with that res, Rustin's going to try his best, get the res out of a line throw. And so what this feels like is a fight for the ages. It's the Ginny is going to get the double kill. One on Orphic. That is absolutely huge. And so here, still in overtime, the Wick is going to go down. Waving hello, blinking their eyes at each other. They're going to go ahead and in there with that speed boost from Lucio. They're just going to go ahead and attack. And I love that aggressiveness from a MorningStars, but Malzatsa doesn't love it that much with a double kill on to Dance and Line Pro.
Also,
Once again gets canceled. Malzatsa, I love your idea, but they called that. They saw it right away, and an Earthshatter coming from the other side. Not as successful either. So 2 Earthshatters with that means
side of MorningStars group, they're also going to be running a Widowmaker with the big one, who, as we remember, was winning out many of those 1v1s. Ooh, not this time around, though. Gets straight up ventilated.
Yeah, not a lot of color to add there. 2 clicks, 2 heads.
The air big one on this Soldier 76, so close to the sacrifice, we already see him going on this flank.
Ooh, and the canceled Earthshatter coming from Malzatsa.
No!
That's going to open things up, though. 1 point is going to get to kills. Frost getting a 4. So even though on the support, and we're actually going to go ahead and drop that tack visor, even though MorningStars is a little bit behind on this point. Big one, though, going to get the kill on Scalar, but the way that this is going down, and with the respawn, Sam, it's looking better for 1 point.
Yeah, more
A team effort there to grab his life away from him. So Malzatsa going to get the team neck as well. So this is a slow fight here on the point.
yeah, a poke battle for the ages.
Things even harder. With 33 seconds left, they have to get some progress onto this point, or they probably will not win this round. The 6 minutes is longer than usual. However, Linepro, thanks to a great whip shot, has taken down Bruston, opened the
MorningStars group playing their position very cautiously here, but Frost! No, he gets the kill!
Oh man, the bomb is clipping her feet. I believe the Ginny is going to go down. The point is open. Frost doing his thing with that Graviton Surge and that pin, that crunch. You're going to hear it, guys. Malzatsa is going to be showing his stuff as more ultimates do come out off the side of a 1 point. So Frost is going to go down with Deadeye, but he did just use one. But 1 point start. He does have the wall hacks, and so with the vision on the side of MorningStars Blue, they know exactly where 1 point is and where they're coming from. Najini waiting for a great opportunity for that rocket barrage, and he's not looking at it so far, but Frost turning it around. All right, self-destruct coming out now. Zatsa's gonna get the primal rage kills. I believe he did knock him off of the map. So Boot is strong with this one, and so that's just gonna be an easy 20% more for 1 point coming in here, and they have